What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, back again with yet another gun review. I know it's like the third or the fourth gun review now that we've done in okay, maybe not that many, but it's not there has been like less of a gap between gun reviews that we've done, you know, previously, and obviously we're doing another gun review. And obviously I did say in the beginning we're not going to be doing many of these, but this thing is just too awesome not to talk about, so we are going to be talking about it today. So for those of you guys who recognize this, and for those of you who don't, this is the AAP01 from Action Army. However, we're not going to be talking about this particular gun today, but this thing does need to be here for the example. So those of you guys who do know what the AAP01 is will know that this thing is known for its modularity, its customizability, the fact that this thing outperforms most airsoft rifles on the market. This thing is incredible. I mean, the limit of things that you can do with this gun is just out of this world. And guys are running them with AR handguards, AR stocks, HPA tapping them, running them as SMGs, rifles, DMRs even. I've seen that, not here locally, but obviously overseas, because locally we have different DMR rules, and this would never class as that. But people are doing it. So everyone knows what the AAP01 is by now. These things have made such waves in the airsoft world, it's actually unbelievable. So, like I said, we're not going to be talking about that one today, but we are going to be talking about their latest iteration, which is none other than the AAP01C. So, straight off the bat, you guys can pretty much guess what I'm going to be pulling out here now, because C stands for compact. So let's go ahead and pull out the AAP01C and let's get into it. So there she is. Let's just get that down there. OCD, good lord. Okay, and there it is, the AAP01C. So straight off the bat, you guys can pretty much tell there are major differences here. Pretty much externally. Internally speaking, these things have not changed very much. The reason for the popularity on the AAP01 is obviously it is Mark Ruger 5 based. Not to say that it is exactly the same as a Mark Ruger 5, but it is based off of it. However, internally speaking, these things are 100% Glock. They take Glock magazines, they take Glock triggers, they take everything internally up until this point is Glock. Obviously the cylinder is slightly different. The hop up, the barrel, and all that sort of thing is very different to a normal Glock. It does not have a floating barrel, but more of a fixed barrel. So yeah, big differences there, but internally speaking, the parts that actually matter, the parts that count, are 100% Glock. And of course, for those of you who don't know, Glock being the most common airsoft replica out there, which means that spares, upgrade parts, and that sort of thing are available pretty much all of the time. I take that with a pinch of salt. Pretty much majority of the time. We pretty much always have stock of Glock parts. However, there are times when we don't, but luckily Action Army's got our back there, and they have released their own line of upgrade parts, replacement parts, and that sort of thing. So you guys can go and check it out on their website, and we do carry most of it, but do yourself a favor and go and check it out. You're going to find some really cool anodized aftermarket triggers, aftermarket mag releases, mag wells, thumb stops that attach onto the side of the chassis over here, aftermarket handles that sit on the bolt chair to make it a little bit easier to rack if you're running a stock. You know, the minor little things like that that make all the difference in the world, and of course obviously intrigue airsofters, because you know anything shiny has airsofters' attention straight away from the bat. So internally speaking, 100% Glock. However, obviously if you decide to go with the AAP01C, bear in mind you are sacrificing the length of barrel, which means you are going to sacrifice possibly a little bit of range and a little bit of accuracy. There's not going to be that much of a difference. So first thing that I want to point out on these, I had a customer in the store that actually asked me this, and I answered it to him, but I'm going to tell you guys the same thing now. His question was, can you fit a suppressor onto the AAP01C? The answer is no. Unfortunately, you cannot, because it does not have threaded barrels or, you know, suppressor attachment points. However, if you were to take off this front end, which I have not done yet, we don't have enough of these yet for me to try and strip one down, so I will do that in the future, and I'll be able to come back to you on that. Or alternatively, one of you guys out there has probably already done this. You could probably fit a suppressor on the front end here if you remove this front end and modify a little bit. Or ultimately, if you own a regular AAP01 and you like the slim grip of the AAP01C, you can obviously just change out upper receivers. It is completely cross compatible, so it'll work anyway. However, that being said, Putting a suppressor on the AAP01C kind of just like, it just basically defeats the purpose of the fact that it is a 01C, because you're actually going to end up with a weapon that is longer than the standard AAP01. And as you can see there, the length difference is not all that much, but it is going to make a difference regardless. So externally speaking, there are some huge changes here. So on the previous models, the AAP01, if you wanted Picatinny rail on the upper half or an upper receiver to mount red dots and that sort of thing, you had to purchase those separately. Whereas on the AAP01C, if you could just stay in the mount, that would be great. On the AAP01C, this comes out with the integrated RIS rail on the upper receiver already. That being said, it does still come out with the same fiber optic sights that we know and love from the previous AAP01s. See if I can get this right this time, because sooner or later I am going to, I don't know how long, when, what year, but sooner or later I'm going to figure out how to line up sights through the camera, which today is obviously not that day. There we go. But yes, so it does come out with the fiber optic sights as well as that slot cut down in the Picatinny rail, so not going to get in your way. And obviously if you're running a red dot, well, these things are pretty much null and void, so don't worry too much about that. So other changes that's important to note externally speaking. So for those of you who don't know, the AAP01 series, both the AAP01C and the regular AAP01 have different fire modes. So you do have single fire and you have full auto fire. On the previous models of the AAP01, the original models, or the OG, you manipulated your fire control with this switch in here, which is not an issue. It is a little bit tough to get to if your fingers are a little bit bigger than mine, and since I have female hands, it's not a big deal for me, but for some of you out there, this might be a bit of an issue, and that is hella tight. So yeah, you can manipulate your fire controls through that little switch there in the bolt. On the new model of the AAP01, it's on the outside of the bolt here, as you can see. So this little switch right here is what manipulates your fire control. So obviously F for full auto and semi, S for semi, I guess you could say, because that's definitely not safe. However, bear in mind, local fields here, SA, full auto is not allowed, but some of the guys like to sort of give it a bit of a full send in their backyards and that sort of thing. However, bear in mind, if you are going to be running these things on full auto, it is advisable that you drop in the stainless steel sear from AAP, or from Action Army, should I say, AAP. Stainless steel sear, because if you mag dump one of these continuously, eventually that sear is going to give in and you're going to lose all functionality out of this pistol. So if you're going to be doing this on full auto, like in your backyards or on shooting ranges or whatever the case may be, because let's be honest, it's hella fun to do a full send on a GBB, but if you are going to be doing that, please drop in the stainless steel sear before you even contemplate doing it. So that being said, awesome little weapon. Externally speaking, there are a whole lot of changes, as you guys can see. Internally speaking, there's almost no changes whatsoever. The hop-up apparently has changed. The name of it escapes me now, but it is a Marui design, which is obviously pretty damn cool. And they do say that this comes out with the antifreeze rubber, like what you would find in the Glock 18Cs. Still, you're never really going to have that issue on an airsoft field here locally, because full auto on these things is not allowed. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but it does have the feature regardless. But like I said, internally speaking, not a whole lot has changed. Externally, you guys can see there's big differences going on here, like the slim grip in comparison to the slightly fatter grip there, which is actually not all that big. It's surprisingly, but it does feel quite big in the hand. So big changes externally. Internally, still the same AAP that we know and love and trust. Awesome little weapons and hella fun to shoot. So obviously this is, you know, purpose built. It does have a place. It's like the perfect sniper backup that doesn't take up too much space. Super accurate. It's got a ton of range behind it, and of course these things have a fire rate on them like nobody's business. They're super responsive, and it's of course because there is no slide as such. It's literally just this bolt doing its thing. So super fast, super snappy, and super responsive. Awesome little weapon with that awesome crisp Glock trigger that most of us know and love. I say most of us because there's a couple of us out there that are uncultured and haven't quite figured this out yet, but Glock triggers are still the best in my opinion. So yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of changes, but regardless, it does have its place, and it's an awesome little pistol for you guys to get. Obviously, if you're an AAP01 fan, this is definitely something that you want to add to your collection. So that being said, guys, that pretty much brings this video down to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, if I could just get this box to close today, it would also be freaking fantastic. There we go. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, keep us going, and of course leave your comments down below about what other further content you guys want to see in the future. I have not forgotten about the L1A1 or the FAL from Aries. We will be getting to that, but this thing was just too damn awesome not to speak about, and I had to try and get it out there before someone else did. So possibly by the time this video comes out, someone else has done one, but at least I tried. So, you know, A+ for effort. So guys, that being said, I'm Section, stay classy, and above all, call those hits, and we'll see you guys in the next video.